Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to do an eye look using Patrick Ta's new 6-pan eyeshadow palette. I just received mine in the mail. As soon as I got early access, I ordered one of them to try them out or retry the formula. And I also did order some other things. So we are going to be playing around with that new eyeshadow palette to create this look today. I will talk you through everything else that I'm wearing for the rest of the face. We will do a lip combo together. So I hope you will enjoy this look. And if you want to see how to do it, then just continue watching. The first thing I want to do is prep my lids. I do have oily lids, so this step is non-negotiable for me, regardless of how much eyeshadow I'm going to put on for the day. I have been using these cream shadows from Makeup by Mario since they launched. I bought a few and I have loved these. They're soft, they're matte, they're moussey, they're whipped, and they actually blur the skin on the lids. It is really one of the best primers that I have used for eyeshadows because it actually does prevent the creasing. The shade that I use is called Sandstone, and that is the closest match to my skin tone. And I'm going to apply this with my finger all over my lids, all the way up to the brow bone. Also, another thing to note that I did not mention is that you can use a brush to apply this. So you can take like an eyeshadow brush that's a little bit more densely packed and put that on your lids. You can also use a brush that has a little bit more of a fluffier style, kind of like a crease brush. That's going to put less product on your lid, but you can definitely use a tool for this. You don't have to use your finger, but I like using my fingers for my eyeshadow primer. I feel like it helps kind of melt it right in, right over my eye cream, or I should say my eye gel. Today I use a Korean eye gel to hydrate the lids and the under eyes. I'm gonna link to the products that I used this morning if you're interested in the skincare portion of it, even though I don't really share that as part of my skin prep for videos. I always do that before I start to film. So those will be listed and linked for you as well down in the description box. Now let's go ahead and jump into that Patrick Ta eyeshadow palette. So this is a new launch for the brand. It's only been out for just a couple of days. I literally just got mine over the weekend and I'm so excited to try this. This is the Major Dimension Essential Artistry Edit eyeshadow palette. What a mouthful, but it is a 6-pan palette. I have the light option. There's a light, there's a medium, and a deep. So I believe there's only 3 at the moment. But these colors are very light and just easy to work with for more lighter skin tones. So they all have a different level of depth and richness depending on the one that you choose. They all look incredibly beautiful. And even if you are fair, you can still use the darker one. It's gonna just give you a more smoky, darker look. I went with the idea of using these colors for every day, something that I could reach for often. These are shades that I need every single time I go to build a look anyway. So it just kind of made sense to retry, I should say, his formula. I had a palette of his a long time ago and I no longer have it. So I kind of wanted to get reacquainted with this new setup and also his formula again. So I just thought this was a genius idea for him to launch this for those that don't want the shimmer. Even if you like shimmer looks, maybe you don't really use those as often as you use the mattes. Maybe you hit pan on the mattes and you just wish that he would have given us just mattes, and now he has, which is great. So we're gonna use as many of these as possible for today's look. So naturally, my starting point would be to take these lighter shades, this first one here, to sweep over that eyeshadow primer just for a little bit of extra insurance. Not that it's necessary though with this formula with the cream shadows from Makeup by Mario, but I just wanna make sure because I am gonna be wearing this for a long time. I have a very busy day today. So I'm gonna take an eyeshadow brush. This is the Morphe M33. It's an eye blender brush. And I'm gonna use that light shade, the first one in the palette, and just kind of pat from inner corner to outer corner all the way up to the brow bone. I am now going to switch over to a crease brush. This is the 212 from BK Beauty. And I'm gonna go right next door to that light shade and I'm gonna use that as a transition color. So what I'm gonna do is start building my crease with this shade. We're gonna kind of deepen things as we move along and go down this palette and these rows. But I'm gonna take that first sort of deeper shade and go right into the crease area. And it's gonna be pretty light. This one does have a little bit of a cool undertone to it, which I like because if you look down at the bottom, some of these have just a hint more warmth, but then you have a little bit of a cool vibe as well. So you're getting a little bit of everything in here, which I do like. And I do think that it's gonna be pretty easy to use all 6 shades in one eyeshadow look. That may sound pretty excessive, but you'd be surprised how easily it is to incorporate all of the shades. And I'm gonna try to do that as much as I can today so that you can really see how you can maximize this if you decide to buy one. I'm gonna take that same brush, but what I'm gonna do is I'm going to hold it and pinch it so that I can use that same color on the lower lashes. Trying just to keep things simple and easy. I don't wanna have a bunch of excess brushes that I have to clean and put away. I'm just trying to make it easy. This is pretty much what I do off camera, is I try to do it as quickly as possible. So I'm gonna do the same thing with you on camera so you can see how quickly you can create a look. Okay, so keeping that same brush, that 212 brush, we're gonna go down to the second row. This shade here has a little bit of a kind of rosiness to it, which I like, so I'm gonna go into that. And again, we're gonna start building up that crease and adding some more color. So we're just gonna kind of swirl this on the outer part of the eye and kind of bring that forward. And when I say bring it forward, it's bringing it, I guess, inward, I should have said. Inward towards the bridge of the nose. Same thing on this other side, swirling it on this outer part and then sweeping it inward. And because that rosy shade isn't too dark and doesn't have a lot of depth to it, I'm gonna do that same technique of pinching the brush to apply it for the lower lashes. But when I get to some of the darker shades on that last row, I will switch a brush for the lower lashes, because I do think the darker the shade, the smaller the brush for more control. But this one seems to be okay. It has some depth and you can see it, but it's not too dark. So we're just gonna keep it simple for these first few steps. Now, if you chose to use this same technique but not pinch your brush, you're just going to get a little bit more thickness, and it's going to give you kind of like an ombre look. Eventually, when you add the depth and darkness really close to the root of the lashes, you'll have a little bit of this kind of rosy shade kind of creeping below that. So it's gonna give you a more blended look in the end. So I will show you if you can just use your regular crease brush and just kind of sweep it. It's gonna thicken everything a little bit, but it'll all come together. Trust the process. Trust me, it's gonna come together in the end. I'm gonna switch to yet another BK Beauty brush. I do love their quality of brushes, and I think that this specific cut is very helpful. This is the 205 brush, and I will show you. The cut of it is angled, as you can see there. So it is quite helpful when you are using this brush to create the shape around your outer V area. You can hold it with the longer part up towards the tail end of your brow like this to create more of a cat eye look to it. Put it on its side and kind of do this sweeping motion. It adds color, it blends and deposits the eyeshadow nicely. So it kind of knocks out a couple steps with one tool, which is why I like this brush, especially when I'm using really dark shades. These are not that dark, but they're getting a little darker. So now we're gonna swing down to this bottom row, and we're gonna start with this shade here. This is a kind of warmer brown tan shade. So I'm gonna pick up some of that. I'm gonna tap off my excess. And for this, I'm going to place it right on this outer edge and kind of wedge that right into my actual crease. As you can see, I'm pushing in. That's kind of the placement that I want with this. Now, if you took it this way and swept like this, the brush, it's gonna create a different shape to the eye. So there's so many things that you can do with this one little brush, but I like it because I feel like it kind of gets that depth right in here, and it also kind of gets a little bit of that same color close to the lashes. So it's keeping that color concentrated to this outer part of the eye. Now for the darkest, richest shade in this palette, I am going to switch to a small brush, one of my absolute favorites, go-tos. I use it all the time. This is the 204 from BK Beauty. I actually have multiples of these because I love this brush. It is teensy tiny, but it's the perfect size to create some depth and dimension on the lower lashes for a little bit more precision work. I use this all the time to smudge out some liner, and that's what I've been doing a lot lately, a little bit of a thicker liner, kind of smoked out, just to create an easy kind of smoky vibe without it being too difficult. So I'm gonna use that dark shade with this brush. So that's this really dark kind of rich brown at the bottom. It is a little bit on the warmer side, and it's a few shades deeper than the shade that I just used on my outer V. I'm gonna tap off some of the excess. I'm gonna start with this color on my lower lashes. So what I like to do is place that brush really close to the root of my lash and just rock it back and forth. And I like to do it just a little bit thicker on this outer edge. And I taper it pretty thin as I move towards the inner corner, and I'm gonna leave that inner corner completely bare for now. And what I'm doing now is just adding a little bit more of that darker shade on the outermost corner of the lower lashes, just to deepen it just a bit more. It's an optional step. You don't really have to do it if you don't want to. And then I'm gonna go back into that 211 wispy brush with nothing on it and continue to blend just a little bit more. And what I like to do is to create more of an ombre look. So we do have some placement of color already there. But what I'm gonna do is go into that mid-tone kind of rosy brown shade with that kind of wispy 211 brush. And I'm going to use that to help me blend a little bit more this deeper shade. And I'm going to pull this down just a little bit further. I don't know, I just like that look. That's, again, totally optional. Just a little bit deeper and a little bit smokier. I'm going to go back to that same detail brush, that 204, and the darkest shade. And I'm going to use this really close to the root of my lash. And I'm going to do it pretty thick because we're going to blend and smudge this out. So I'm going to use this right here at the base of my lashes. Then I'm going to go in with that wispy brush again and soften this out and just kind of blend a little bit more. Now I do tend to switch brushes when it comes to the step of blending the thick lash line, whether it's a pencil or a powder. And for that I like to switch to the BK Beauty 207 brush, which is kind of like a pencil brush, but a little bit shorter, a little bit wider, a little bit more dense and more rounded, whereas pencil brushes tend to be a little bit skinnier, more narrow, and come to maybe a bit of a point. This is a little bit more rounded, so I like using this to help blend out those dark shades at the root of my lashes. We've used pretty much every single shade. The only one I have not used is this one right here, which I will use a little bit on the lower lashes. So I'm gonna go into that pencil style brush, the 207. Pick this color up and use some of this underneath as well. It's just gonna continue to add a little bit more depth and richness. It's kind of creating some layers, so it comes together really nicely in the end, all the shades. But I wanted to use them all so you can see how easy it is to use all 6 shades. Instead of thinking, wow, that sounds like a lot, it really does. When you say, I used 6 eyeshadows today to create a look, it can sound like a lot and someone can be like, whoa, that's just a little too much. I don't have time for that, but it's pretty easy. I'm walking you through it. But if I were to do this without talking, it wouldn't take me this long to do. And now we've used all of the shades. I want to go back to this lighter color, and I'm going to use that with a smaller brush to highlight my brow bone, the inner corner. I do want to add a little bit more into this innermost corner that we didn't really put a lot of eyeshadow, just to kind of pull everything together. And for that, I will use the Morphe M302 brush, which is an eye packer brush. So I'm going to pat off some of the excess, and then I'm just going to kind of pat right underneath my brow bone. I'm going to take that same light shade and I'm going to go right in this inner corner here. This one does have quite a bit of pigment, but what I like about this shade is that when you apply it to the innermost corner, it helps open up the eyes a little bit more. You can kind of see the difference. It just opens everything up. Because when you use a lot of dark shadows, it kind of closes the eye a little bit. So you want to open things back up, create brightness and more lightness in this innermost corner. So I'm going to take that same brush, same color, and I'm going to use that to highlight my inner tear duct area as well. And you can kind of see the difference between doing that and not. I think it makes a big, big difference. We're done with the eyeshadow portion. I do want to add a little bit more depth and something a little bit darker. So I'm going to use a pencil eyeliner for this. This is the Kosas Soul Gazer gel eyeliner in the shade called Allure. This is a really dark, rich chocolate brown color. I will show you a swatch. It's very creamy, very soft, but very, very dark. Use the same liner as well to tight line. So I'm going to do that first. And run that right across my upper waterline. Then I'm going to take that same eyeliner, I'm going to put it on its side, and I'm just going to start doing small little dashes and connecting them as I move along my lash line. And I don't particularly pay attention to being super precise and careful with this because I am going to smudge it. You can use a brush or the little smudger that comes on the opposite end, which is genius. I'm going to use that to just kind of move this a little bit. I've also done this with my fingers as well. You just want to work quickly because these do stay on quite a bit and they last all day. So you want to move it around before it dries on you. And then of course, the final step for any eye look, this is non-negotiable, mascara. I have some news for you guys. The L'Oreal Extensionist mascara, the new drop that was exclusive to TikTok, is now at Ulta Beauty. Let's do a little round of applause for that because this mascara is so good. I have loved this ever since I reviewed it. I did a video on it, I believe it was last week, and this is incredible. So I'm gonna link it for you down below. They have the original, which is the washable version, and then they have a waterproof as well. I have the washable in the blackest black shade. I love the silver tube. It stands out in my collection. And I love this wand. If you have not seen that video, please check it out because I show you a before and after. The results are absolutely wow. But this is what the brush looks like on this mascara. So you can see that. I'm gonna do 2 coats on my top lashes and 1 coat on my bottom lashes. And that's just one good coat of this mascara. I'm telling you, you have to see the review video because I share with you before and afters, 1 coat versus 2 coats versus no mascara, and you're gonna love it. I'm just kind of a spoiler alert, you're gonna love this mascara too. And now the eyes are fully complete. I was kind of in the mood for an all matte look, but don't you worry because I've got a glitter look coming soon. We're gonna play with yet another Patrick Ta product, and I will just kind of show you real quickly. He launched some new eyeshadow duos, the Major Dimension. It's the Eye Illusion eyeshadow duos, and they come in a component like this, and I picked one of the new shades. This is In Your Dreams, is what it's called. Okay. When I opened this, I'm not gonna lie, I was just, wow. Wow is that first thought of opening this and looking at them. I have been wanting to try some of these for a while. He's launched a few shades previously, but he's expanded that with the shade extension. And I cannot wait. I want to swatch this so badly, but I'm gonna wait for you in my next video so you can really see my authentic reaction to what this looks like because I have not tried this formula yet. It looks incredible online and in photos, on his TikTok page, on his Instagram, other people's tutorials, and I'm just like goo goo gaga for it. So now I bought myself one because I feel like I was missing out and now I'm not. So we'll play this week with this, don't you worry. I'll be back with that for another eye look. Let's finish this look off together. I know I have most of my makeup already done, but let's put a lip together, and I'm wanting to use one of the Anastasia Beverly Hills lip velvets. I bought a new shade in the color called Pure Hollywood. I love this formula. This is moussey, it's light, it's like a souffle on your lips. It's the most comfortable matte lip product I think you will ever put on your lips. It is so, just so beautiful, and I love this formula. I had one shade called Kiss, and I did swatch them. So this is the Kiss shade here, which has more pink to it, and then this is the Pure Hollywood. So I do want to use Pure Hollywood today because I feel like that color kind of goes with the vibes of today's look, even though I could definitely use this color to the Kiss shade with a little bit of pink. This is a very basic eye look that goes with pretty much anything. So feel free to take this in any direction that you want. But I got to put this on because I bought this from Ulta and I want to put it on ASAP. I have some new lip liners from Morphe. Okay. Morphe's holiday collection has dropped. Yep, it is here. $14 for 3 lip liners. If you buy just one, it's $7. It'll be the best $7 that you spend on a lip liner at the drugstore. I'm not even kidding. I did a video on these already and the new lipsticks. Stop. You need them. So these are 3 different colors. I actually do have this shade already. This is the Wifey shade, I believe. Yes, that's a repeat for me, and that's what this swatch is. I feel like it kind of pulls a little bit of pink within that Pure Hollywood shade, so I think I might go for that. But these other 2, I will swatch them for you. It comes with Makeup Talk and Berry Cola. So this is the Makeup Talk shade, which is a little bit more of a warm brown. Actually, that would be so pretty with today's eye look. And then Berry Cola. Stop. It's a nice kind of rich brown with a little bit of a berry undertone. So Berry Cola is the perfect name for it. I'm going to link this down below. And they also have a new eyeshadow palette. We have so much to talk about and so much to play with that I've got to film a lot this week so you guys can kind of catch up and see what's new. But this is what the box looks like in case you want to purchase it. I will link it, of course, for you down below. It's the Signature Lip Trio. And it looks like that. So if you see these on the Ulta site, grab those because, like I said, one is $7. And we're going to line with this color here. Oh, that's pretty. I didn't have this color before. Now let's top that with the Pure Hollywood, and I'm so excited for this color. Oh yeah. It's a little bit more brown, a little bit more cooler than I typically go for. I always love a good pink lip, so Wifey is always gonna be one of my first choices when it comes to these Morphe pencils. But I'm gonna link to it below. I'm gonna link to my favorite shades. I will post that video in the card so you can see the video swatching these in the lipsticks because these are incredible. And that is the completed look. Do you wanna know what's on the rest of my face? Let's talk about it real quick. I'm gonna kind of speed through this. The Makeup by Mario foundation, I wear the shade 4.5N. I use that as my foundation. It completely skipped primer. My skincare is my skin prep for the day. Concealers, ABH, Magic Touch with the Hourglass concealer. This is really light. I bought this when I went to Disney World in June. I wasn't this dark then, so this is a really light shade, so I mixed those two. That's my concealer for the day. Of course, I had to set that with the L'Oreal Infallible Blur Fection powder, the light pink shade. And then I did a layering technique with my bronzers. So I use the Cabana Club Blurring Bronzer from Polite Society in the shade French Riviera. This is a very unique formula. If you have not seen this product, it feels like a cream, but goes on like a powder. It just melts beautifully into the skin. I love this so much. I went over that with the Blurring Bronzer from ABH in the shade Warm Sand Vibes. Blush, I did the same thing, that layering technique. I took a Half Magic blush. This is the Don't Be a Doll shade in the Cheek Fluff. So this is a blush that's actually made in Korea. It has a really soft, kind of creamy feel to it, kind of putty-like. If you push your finger, you'll see an indentation. Very, very soft, silky, smooth, buttery. So that's the shade Don't Be a Doll. And then I added just a hint more pink to the cheeks with the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear blush in the shade Confident Pink. This is extremely pigmented. You need the teensiest bit to really show up. So I use a very, very, very small, very sparingly over this blush from Half Magic. And that's that kind of rosiness that I have on my cheeks. And then the highlighter is also from L'Oreal. This is the Infallible Fresh Wear highlighter in the shade number 15 Champagne Glow. And this is stunning. And that's what's giving me that glow on my cheeks. You see that? So beautiful. Stop, right? And that, my friends, is the completed look. I hope that this was enjoyable to watch. Let me know your thoughts on that Patrick Ta eyeshadow palette, that 6-pan. Do you like that concept and idea? Have you tried these sparkle shades? Let me know your thoughts. I want to hear from you. Tell me what you think about this look. Does it look good? Did I do a good job today? Thanks for being here and for watching. Don't forget to expand the description box. Everything is going to be listed and linked for you down below. Subscribe for more videos like this in the future. I post every Tuesday and every Friday. You can also follow me on social media. All the details that you need to know are in the description box. I appreciate you so much. I hope you know how much you mean to me. Thank you for spending some of your day here with me. Take care, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.